Welcome to Expanding Your Search with Brent and Jody Bailey. We are growing our circles of connection and knowledge with encouraging conversations and positive communications. Today, Brent and Jody welcome
author of the brand new book, What Are the Stakes? He is explaining spiritual warfare to us today, Steve Hemphill.
And now, here are your hosts, Brent and Jody Bailey.
And good Monday afternoon, everybody. It's good to have you with us here at Expanding Your Search. It's Brent Bailey. Hope you're having a great day wherever you are. Let's head over to the control room right now, where my little bride, Jody, is sitting over there. And
hey, everyone, it's Monday.
It is Monday, and it's September the 13th. It was a big weekend weekend.
It is.
This past weekend, it was the 20th anniversary of the September 11th terrorist attacks.
Right.
And it's not something that we look forward to celebrating or anything like that, but it is something that we should always be remembering. And
yeah.
I said Sunday morning at church that I'm thankful to all of our first responders, and military personnel, all of our government leaders that were in office at that time.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that, we wanted something like that to happen, but when something like that does happen, it is so I'm so grateful for people like that in those places. So those people are have a special place. Retired or still active, it doesn't matter. First responders, military, and government leaders during that time. Thank you for navigating those waters there. Are we completely out of the water and out of the woods with everything yet? Absolutely not.
No.
We still have this world is a very broken place, and
right.
We have lots of, and that's why the message is simple. The world is not going to get any better without Jesus, and that's all there is to it.
Exactly.
So thank you to those leaders that did work so hard and tirelessly to make it as good as we can make it, and your sacrifices have not been forgotten, and they never will be.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So with that being said, as we move into the middle of September, we are starting to really get ready for fall. I think it's next week. Autumn actually shows up.
It does.
Officially.
Yes.
Summer's still here, so let's live it out as much as we can, but autumn's knocking on the door.
And no matter where you are in the country, I know for me, you can just feel the fall. I mean, it doesn't have to be a pumpkin spice latte or everything pumpkin spice, but there's something about the air and the wind that comes, and there's just a feeling.
There's a smell in the air.
There is a smell in the air.
In Florida,
I love it.
Even in Florida.
Yes, I love it.
Yeah, that's right.
I love it.
Speaking of pumpkin-flavored stuff,
tell us.
Trader Joe's is coming out with pumpkin ice cream.
Pumpkin ice cream. Now that would be good.
Super premium pumpkin ice cream available only at Trader Joe's.
Only at Trader Joe's.
Now, we're not... it's a sore spot to talk about Trader Joe's.
It is.
We passed her church in Orlando, and our location was purchased by Trader Joe's, and the building was torn down, and now it is. And there's the bell, because it was a Presbyterian church. The bell that was in the church is now in a bell tower in the Trader Joe's. Did you know
exactly.
that bell there is?
I did. Yeah. Yeah.
I can't bring myself to go in there.
I've gone in there a few times, but I go in there and I'm like, I have a little bit of an attitude.
Yeah.
Well, but I mean,
you can buy pumpkin.
Is what it is.
You can buy pumpkin ice cream now.
Yes, pumpkin ice cream.
Fall is upon us.
There is another Trader Joe's in the Orlando airport area.
Yeah, it's a Winter Garden though.
It is, or
Winter Park.
Winter Park,
That's a long trip for us.
It is a long trip, but I have gone to that one before because I wanted to avoid the other one.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
so what do you
do? Most of that building sits in what was the parking lot.
Yeah, exactly.
So what I used to stand and preach in is now the parking lot of Trader Joe's. So.
Right, exactly.
Anyway.
Okay, so let's move on from there. Today is Kids Take Over the Kitchen Day. Now that could be a scary thing for
I was
a
going
lot
to say,
of
our
parents.
house, that would be a very scary thing.
It would. I would have to really. Now I love.
It'd be a lot of burnt ramen noodles
exactly.
in the microwave.
Poor Preston.
Yeah. He has completely. Let's just bring everybody up to speed here. He has put more than one occasion. He likes ramen. He puts them in there and forgets to put water in them. And the next thing you know, there's this smell.
It's a smell.
Burning
It's
ramen.
It's almost as bad as when you burn popcorn.
It's worse.
It may be worse.
And it stays with you for a few days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but if you know, there are a lot of children that...
Yeah, what's the history behind this holiday?
The history is allowing parents to just take a break. Let the kids. Now, I know, like, we go back to this, that I feel like when my kids want to do something that I normally would do, I don't like it because I know I'm going to eventually have to clean it up.
Yeah.
And so,
yeah.
But, it's giving them a chance to go ahead and explore and expand, what they would normally do. Get them away from the games, get them away from TV, and have them, cook something up. Peyton will say he knows how to make macaroni and cheese, and I actually believe that he could do that.
Sure. Peel the lid, pull out the envelope,
yes,
put it in the water.
But he's also been with me when I've made him the box.
Oh. I don't know about that.
Yeah. So, but he does like to get in a hurry.
I mean, he does, and he does like to just pull out chocolate milk out of the refrigerator. And take the whole jug with him to his room.
Yes, he does. It drives me crazy. Anyway,
right.
So give your kids a chance to take over the kitchen. Don't let them do something crazy, with the oven and. Anyway, so
yes,
yeah,
especially if you have a gas stove. All right, moving on. What else?
It's also Peanut Day.
Oh, I thought you were going to say peanut butter.
No, Peanut Day.
The most unhealthy of all the nuts.
Yes, they are. It is. Unhealthy.
They're not bad.
But they're good. They're salty. Excuse me.
Gosh, are you okay?
I am. I got something stuck in my throat.
Is it a peanut? Oh! I like. I can honestly say places like Texas Roadhouse, those kind of restaurants really have brought the popularity of the peanut back. So Mr. Peanut's always been around. He's always been famous, and but everybody goes to those restaurants, and that's throw the shells on the ground.
Yep,
it's the most
I love that.
Unsanitary
it is
thing
so
in the
unsanitary, but it's kind of cool. It's
All right. What else?
It is also Uncle Sam Day, and you know why? It is his birthday, September 13th. He was born September 13th, 1766, and it's Uncle Sam Day.
Before we were a country, Uncle Sam was.
Yeah, and he was kind of in the meat deli type of industry. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Yeah, now you do.
Wait a minute. Are we talking about because there was a real Uncle Sam?
Yes, apparently, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, that's what we're good at. We're here to provide.
We learn things when we do this, so it's not just for the people that are watching. It is, for us to learn as well.
That's right.
Yes.
Anything else?
Yes, this is a very important one. Today is Celiac Disease Awareness Day.
Oh, that's huge.
It is very huge, and I know that celiac goes a little bit beyond just simply gluten-free.
Would you think that it's fair to say that it's a modern disease?
It is. I would.
Because I never even heard of things being, of people being gluten intolerant until the last 10 to 15 years.
Right. At the grocery stores, everywhere you look,
I wonder
there's a gluten-free section.
Wonder what caused it all of a sudden.
Well, I would say if you talk to healthcare, nutritionist type people,
yes,
they would say, all along. I mean, there's so many preservatives in our food. Period.
That's what I was going to say.
Wheat is just we've gotten so much wheat in us, and wheat is in so much.
Well, I wonder if it's because people ate wheat for hundreds of thousands of years before us.
Right.
I wonder if it is the way it's processed and things like that now that has caused this to come about.
I think it could very well be.
I've never even heard of it until when I was growing up. Nobody was gluten intolerant.
No. You just. I don't remember people having issues at all. But we know a lot of people that really do have
We should
serious
schedule
issues.
a guest to come on and talk.
We
just
really
about
should. We really
celiac
should.
disease.
But yeah, celiac disease is a very, very, very serious.
And it's real.
It is very real. So we're definitely saying, bravo to the companies
Which
that are
pretty
making
much-
food that
Yeah, we have
go
we have
to them.
adopted that, even though we're not really gluten intolerant.
Yeah,
we've pretty much gotten rid of bread.
Starches
for the
across
most-
the board is
right.
what, and carbs.
And to be honest with you, in the last 5 or 7 years, I noticed in my hip, I would start getting a pain in my hip
yeah,
when I eat a lot of rolls or bread or whatever. So
yeah, it happens.
I don't think I'm gluten intolerant, but I think that there is something in the current version of that makes
Yes.
it happen. So,
Yes.
all right. Anything else?
Yeah, let's.
Because I've got something really
you
interesting.
got something?
Well, go ahead. Tell us what you
Okay, I'm going to say this last one because we have viewers and friends. Today is Bald is Beautiful Day.
Oh, well.
So today is all about shedding our vanity of our hair. I've always been like, my hair.
Well,
I
I
mean,
can
today
think
it
of 3
doesn't look
people
great.
right now. David Gillespie, Jerry Hasty, Guy Teets.
Yep, exactly. And I'm sure
Am I
there's.
thinking of any other else? I'm just talking about people at our church.
I would say we have 2 brother-in-laws, 3 actually, because I think Jeff might.
Oh, yeah, Josh Murakami.
Josh Murakami.
Jeff Santos.
Yes, and
I mean, but he's not necessarily bald. He just keeps it trimmed down really short.
yeah,
He doesn't like Bickett. There's a little bit of hair there.
yeah. Yeah, so
Okay.
we know quite a
Who
few
else?
people.
Who else do we know that shaves their head or is bald like that?
I'm not really sure.
Dave Martin, Dr.
Dave Martin, yes, definitely.
Lots of friends
yeah.
and relatives.
Yep. So yeah, we know lots of people.
Bald
And
is beautiful.
bald is beautiful, and so
On
just be
some
proud
people.
of that. Yeah, some people don't need to be bald.
Definitely not.
No, not at all. So yeah,
All right.
know that that's a beauty.
Well, Jody, the chicken sandwich war is getting out of hand.
Oh, it's wearing me out.
I'm telling you, it is just getting out of hand. Chick-fil-A started it. Kentucky Fried Chicken always had one, but it wasn't their centerpiece. It was like you went to Kentucky Fried Chicken for chicken,
Exactly.
KFC or Chick-fil-A for the sandwich. Then Popeyes started throwing down this whole. They're the ones. Listen. That's the reason COVID is here, because Popeyes started messing with the Lord's chicken.
Exactly.
And they
Thanks,
okay, so
Popeyes.
now everybody's doing it. I mean, McDonald's always had one, but it wasn't no big deal. But now it is. Wendy's always had one, wasn't a big deal. Now it is. Burger King. The other day, if you remember, if you watch the show regularly, we announced Taco Bell has one, which doesn't make any
right.
sense. But now there are 2 more of the big companies getting into the fried chicken sandwich war. And they don't make any sense of why they would even go this direction. But
Okay.
it's Panda Express.
Oh my word.
Theirs is going to be orange chicken flavored. Orange
Okay.
chicken sandwich from Panda Express. And then Panera Bread is also testing a fried chicken
Fried
sandwich.
chicken.
Yeah. Theirs is going to be flavored a little bit different. It's going to have anchovies and some other stuff on it. But
Oh.
Yeah, I don't
Are you
know.
serious?
that's what it says.
Ugh. I'm sorry.
So I just want to say that, the Bible speaks about the longer the world goes on, the more ungodly it gets. And it's playing out in front of us in the chicken wars.
It is
right now.
honestly, it is just ridiculous because almost except for Panda Express
That's
and Panera, I mean, most of these restaurants have had a chicken sandwich. I'm like, seriously?
yeah, but it wasn't like pushed to the forefront.
Yeah,
now they're
but it's,
all trying
hey,
to make
the
it as
new
like
chicken.
yeah, they're trying to make
I
it.
don't know.
like
And then, the subject before we were talking about celiac disease. Well, you got to take the bread off, so it's pointless. So,
this is true.
yeah.
All right,
Come on, guys.
One more thing. No, there's a lot of things that we do talk about this time of year. One of them is candy corn. We've talked about
Yes,
that
we
extensively.
have.
How much we do like candy corn
Yes.
and how we like it with the honey roasted peanuts, or some people just don't
Yeah,
like
peanuts.
it at all.
Peanut day. Candy corn.
Brock's, of course, everybody knows Brock's candy.
Mm-hmm.
They are coming out with this is for the kids, really. Everybody knows the Minions from Universal
Yes.
Studios, the Minions. They are coming out with a Minions candy corn that is banana and blue raspberry and vanilla, and it's a yellow, blue, white candy corn.
Our kids won't eat that.
I bet you Peyton will try it because of
think?
the Minions. He likes it.
Well,
It's
I mean, he
banana
does like-
flavored. It's banana,
That's why he
blue
would eat it.
raspberry, and vanilla flavored. That's the flavors that are going to be in it. So I don't know.
I don't know either. I mean, it's out of control.
Yeah, it's fun though. Fun.
It is fun. It is fun to talk about.
All right, one more thing. We've been doing this for a little bit of a time now. We've been eating what we call sheep cheese.
Yes.
And it is very good.
Manchego.
Manchego cheese. We're probably not saying it right.
Probably not.
But there is a new cheese out there that is by a company called, I'm not even going to try and say it. It's a Mexican company. But they have a queso fresco that is basically, it's sort of like sheep cheese, but it's not. It's not goat cheese or sheep cheese. I'm trying to see what the bottom line of it is here. But yeah, it's chispa.
Chispa.
Yeah. Anyway, it's supposed to be versatile. The reason we like sheep cheese, folks, is because it tastes good. It tastes like cheese.
Yes.
But it melts well.
It melts great. Yeah.
And you can sprinkle it, shred it, do all that stuff. But this is supposed to be the same kind of thing.
Yeah.
You should be able to shred it. You should be able to melt it. It's supposed to, and so you can find it in your, the rest of the places that sell a lot of Latino-based food. And it's called queso fresco, and it is a brand new product that's just on the market. So.
Well, the question is it cow's milk?
No, it's not. It's
some other kind of.
It is made. Well, it says on here
it could be
it's partial skim milk.
Oh well, that's still dairy.
Yeah, so
cow dairy.
But I guess it's supposed to be lower in fat and healthier for you.
Yeah, well that's
Ranchero
good.
queso fresco. I'm looking forward to trying it.
Yeah.
All right, folks, that's what's going on around the country. I got a great guest for you today. His name is Steve Hemphill, and let's get to it as we expand your search. My guest today is Steve Hemphill, the founder of Active-Faith.org. He was a businessman for over 30 years before becoming an author, a speaker, and a teacher. He's authored 4 books and speaks extensively on the topic of spiritual warfare. Can't wait to get into this subject with him today. He loves sharing these awesome God stories. His latest book is called What Are the Stakes? God Markers on the Land. Please welcome to Expanding Your Search today, Steve Hemphill. Hi,
Thank
Steve.
you.
How are you? So good to have you here today.
Oh, it's an honor to be here. Thanks for having me.
We have a mutual friend in Marv Leroy, and
Yes.
he spoke so highly of you, and we just couldn't wait to have you on the show and to talk about these things. Before we get into the subject, though, tell us a little bit about yourself. Where are you from?
Okay. It's actually Active-Faith.org. If somebody looks that up, they can get confused, but there is a dash in there. I grew up in a small town in Central Texas. I went to Christian college and got a degree in marketing, started my own company, a technology company, and it was very successful over 30 years, but God created a set of circumstances around me that only God can do, and it led me to walk away from my business and go into ministry full-time from a high salary to no salary, and I've never looked back. God provides, and things are great, but spiritual warfare is my main topic that he's kind of put me on.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because I was going to ask you what kind of business it was. Can you give us a little sneak peek? I know we don't want to take too much time here because we want to really get into your topic today, but what was the story that led you away from such a successful career?
Oh, that's a fun story I'll share quickly, too. Okay. When my dad died unexpectedly with a heart attack in 2000, the summer of 2000, he was only 69, and my little brother and I started looking for the will, and he had an old safe in the back of his office. We dug in there and found a sealed, thick envelope from Dad addressed to the two of us. But on the outside, he had written, "If you boys find this after I'm dead, do not open this envelope. It is not important." And now it's all caps and underlined. It said, "Destroy this envelope without opening it, Dad." And it was signed and dated 6 months before he died, very suddenly and unexpectedly. Now, what would you do with an envelope like that?
I would have to peel it open and see what it was.
We burned it without reading it.
Wow.
And it led, ultimately, it's kind of a weird story, but it ultimately led me to write a book about heaven that's led to spiritual warfare. And it led my brother to walk away from his businesses. And he's a preacher in Arkansas now. So.
Wow. That's such a special story that,
pretty incredible.
I really admire you for doing the right thing. So
I want to tell you, it was the hardest thing I ever
I
did. And a
bet.
lot of people say they would open it or tell their best friend to open it and tell them what was in it. That way they didn't disobey, but they found out what they wanted to know. We're
Yeah.
sort of conniving. We justify what we really want to do.
Yeah, yeah, I can only imagine what that would have been like. But kudos to you for doing the right thing, and obviously God has honored that and has now got
Yes.
you doing some things around the country. You got a brand new book, or your latest book is called "What Are the Stakes? God Markers on the Land." Tell us a little bit about that, and
Okay.
what led you to write it.
Well, okay, well, just stop me when I talk too much about it because it's a long story and I'll just hit some highlights. But I was writing my second book called My Search for Prayers Satan Hates, intending to share prayer success stories. And I prayed a weird prayer. I said, Lord, please give me something special to put in this book that really helps people. And a couple of days later, a Christian leader called me, a local friend of mine, a very active Christian, said, is it true your next book's on spiritual warfare? And I said, yes. Why? He said, I've got a buddy I've been trying to convert to Jesus Christ for 25 years. Great guy, mad at God about some stuff long ago. But now he has a spiritual warfare problem. And I know you're writing on that. Maybe this is our chance to convert him. Would you be willing to talk to him? And I said, sure. So I go meet Bill. And we're face to face. And I just said, Bill, what's wrong? What's your spiritual warfare problem? And he looks at me dead serious and says, I have demons on my property. I'm getting ready to commit suicide. I just wanted to talk to you first. And I did what I call panic prayer. I didn't know how to help that. I'd never heard of that. I just started praying. He's telling me all the reasons why he's sure he has demonic presence in his life. And I'm praying, Lord, what do I say? He's not a Christian. He's going to kill himself. What do I say? And a strange verse popped in my head as soon as I began praying. It was Deuteronomy 6, I think verse 9, that says, you're living in a land full of evil. Be sure and put my word on your gates and doorposts. And that first I went, what is that? How does that help? And then it clicked and I went, oh, the Jews did that. It's called a mezuzah. It's not a magic box. It's a symbol of their covenant relationship with God. And they did it literally. They didn't say, oh, that's just symbolic. We don't really do that. No, they do it. They still do it.
Yeah.
So I turned to Bill and said, Bill, don't kill yourself yet. Let's try something bizarre. The Bible's full of bizarre stories. There's talking snakes, walking on water, and resurrection. Let's just take some tent stakes, and write Bible verses on them and put them all the way in the ground on the four corners of your place where this strange stuff is happening, and read the verses together and pray for God to make it stop and see what he does. And he said, okay, I'll try anything. I mean, at this point, I'm grasping at straws trying to help a guy who's about to commit suicide. He was serious about it. And so it's a long story, but suffice it to say, when we did that, immediately everything changed. He became a Christian. He wanted to be baptized. He and his wife. He prays for me every day. And because of my ultra-conservative background, I was worried about how to write the story and not look weird to my friends.
Sure, yeah.
And the phone rings. My wife's a teacher. She just retired, but she had taught for 20-something years. And so she answers the phone. It's another teacher. And this lady goes, Mary Lynn, is it true Steve's next book is on spiritual warfare? Yeah, why? Oh, I've got to talk to him right now. Can I come over? She's panicky. And Mary Lynn says, come on over. So this lady had been on a mission trip with her church overseas. And now for the first time in her life, she's having what she calls terrifying demonic nightmares every night at exactly 3 a.m. on the clock. And she wakes up in a cold sweat. And, later I found a Bible verse that was almost word for word what she said to me. It was Job 4:13-17, NLT. It says, it came to me in a disturbing vision at night when people are in deep sleep. Fear gripped me and my bones trembled.
Yeah.
A spirit swept past my face. My hair stood on end. That's Job 4. And I found that later, but that's what she's describing. And I just said, well, Victoria, I'm not an expert, but Bill was going to kill himself. And we put Bible verses on 10 stakes and everything changed. And he said, well, I'm going to do that. So she went to Army Navy, bought some stakes, wrote verses all over them. And then she lived in an apartment. So she just stood them in the four corners of her apartment and, prayed that God would make it stop. And immediately they stopped. And now she's so excited that, she can sleep good and rest easy that she finally told someone else. She told her best friend at school. Well, her best friend was the principal. Next thing I know, they're calling me, asking me to stake out this public school. And I said, well, okay, can we do it at night when no one sees so we don't get sued? I'm a business guy. I understand.
Sure, yeah.
And so we went up there one night with a hammer and 4 stakes with verses all over them and a key to the front gate and a flashlight. We didn't tell anybody what we were doing. and we prayed a hedge of protection around that campus for everybody connected to it. And 9 months later, they called me. There were some terrible things happening at that school. All our schools have some just unbelievable things going on. And 9 months later, they called, and I'd forgotten about it. And they said, man, you wouldn't believe the school is just great. All our problems are gone. I went, really? I mean, I'm supposed to have faith, but the whole school is better. Well, that's great. I said, wait a minute. What happened to the man who worked there who was causing most of the problems? You described him to me before. They said, oh, he died.
Oh, my gosh.
I said, he died? Was he old? No, he's in his 30s, had a heart attack. Wow. And his mother came to the campus after the funeral and demanded to see the principal, starts cursing and screaming, you killed my son. They had to call security to have her escorted off the property. And you know, I'm just saying, oh my goodness, what's going on? And next thing I know, people are calling saying, how much are your steaks? I don't sell steaks. Go make your own steaks. And then the funny questions all started. What do you make them out of? How long are they? How far apart are they? How deep are they? What verses did you use? How many verses did you use? Do they go all the way in the ground or part of the way in the ground? What if your property's not square? And I'm laughing at all these questions, just saying it's not a formula. It's an act of faith.
That's right.
Active-Faith.org. You know, actually that's where we got that name. But it's an act of faith. And it's the power of the word of God in the act of faith. It's not a magic steak. Make your own. Well, finally, my buddies in my prayer group said, you know what, Steve, you know, this might be from God. And if it's from God, you can't stop it. We think you ought to try selling some steaks. See what God does with this. And they talked me into selling steaks. We put stickers on them. And I would take them and I said, look, make your own steaks, but I got some here. Sure. I would sell out every place I would go speak. Next thing I know, I'm hearing story after story after story. You know, churches sticking out their building and the givings going up and relationships being restored and kids with autism seeing improvement for the first time in their life and ladies with agoraphobia cured and bipolar diagnosis seeing. I mean, how many mental illnesses are demonic in origin? We don't know. We don't consider that most of the time. Long story short, I finally had during a Bible study in my own home on a Friday afternoon, me and this young man, he's about 30, we're having this third study, and he got up and got angry and attacked me in my living room, and he started throwing the furniture through the windows, and I walked outside and called the police, and he flipped a baby grand piano by himself. I have a podcast, and I even showed the video on this recently of the aftermath of that. But in 4 minutes, he did $42,000 damage.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, my goodness.
The policeman came and put him in handcuffs and walked in and saw my house was a wreck. There was glass everywhere, and the furniture was upside down. And he said, what were y'all doing, sir? And I said, Bible study. And he said, what? I never saw a Bible study end like this. And I said, well, I teach spiritual warfare. Let me give you, some books. Thanks. Anyway, he ended up, I didn't press charges. The family wrote me a check for the damage. I didn't even have to file an insurance claim. The guy got help, and he had a chemical imbalance too. But he told me, he said, something evil took me over and I couldn't stop myself. I didn't press charges, so that report went across the police chief desk. Next thing I know, our community has such a high rate of crime.
Well, and that's kind of where we wanted to take this.
That's where I wanted to head with it.
Yeah, is that in your book you actually kind of make the case that an act of faith can lower the local crime rate. And with everything in America right now, people need to know that. Can that happen, really?
It did in Longview, and other cities have copied what we did, and it's working there too. Just a couple of quick stories. I don't want to go over time on your show here, but we staked out Longview January of 2017, the very first time. We prayed at all 30 entrances into the city limits. We invited Jesus to be king. We prayed for the Holy Spirit to be welcome here and to work on the heart of every unbeliever to prepare them for the gospel. By the way, conversions have gone up. People show up at church uninvited now at different churches around town. Wow. Over 20 churches participated in that event. We prayed together, and then they took a stake and kind of like marking a line in the sand against the enemy. What we did, we just prayed God would change things here. Our murders, rapes, and robberies were the highest they'd ever been. We staked it out in January of 2017 and again in 2018. And it's sort of become a ritual. We do it every year. But I met the police chief in the summer of 2019. So we'd already staked out the city twice. And he said, you did what? And I showed him the stakes. And the verses are built into the plastic now. By the way, I didn't tell you that. Remind me to tell you about the plastic manufacturer called, and they make the stakes with built into the plastic now. But anyway,
wow.
So I showed him the stakes, and he said, you put these where? And I told him, and he said, I've been police chief 25 years. crime has gone up every year, but the last few years it's gone up astronomically until you did that. In 18 months, our crime has dropped 45%.
Wow.
He said, can I give you
and Longview is how big? What size of town?
83,000.
83,000.
He said, can I give you 8 addresses where different city blocks around town are having daily calls for violent crime and get you to stake out those particular locations? I said, yes, sir. So we staked those out that next in 19 of October. And then I talked to the gang. It was gang problems, what it was, the gang detective 3 months later. And I said, hey, what happened after we staked out those 8 city blocks? He said, it was like turning off a faucet. There were no more calls in any of those locations. After that, I thought God's word is just powerful.
Yeah, it's
so Irving, Texas,
faith.
heard of this. Irving, Texas has 62 entrances. They're way bigger than Longview. They staked theirs out a couple of years ago, all 62 locations. And 7 months later, the front page of their paper, and I got a picture of it, it says crime rate the lowest in 14 years. So other cities are beginning to do this. Amarillo, Texas was just staked out. The state of Kentucky is about to put 5 stakes in every county, 1 on each corner and 1 in the courthouse lawn. It's just, we staked out the jail in Longview, and the jail population dropped from 900 to 300 in 1 year. That's the lowest it had ever been. God's word is just powerful, and this is just an act of faith. I encourage people to make your own stakes. I just have the coolest stakes because a plastics manufacturer called me when this kind of got busy and said he's willing to spend $10,000 to build a mold. So the stakes verses are built into the plastic. All 16 verses are built there. They're also on Amazon called Spiritual Warfare Stakes, and they're on my website at Active-Faith.erg.
That's what we're going to throw up your information on the screen right now, folks. There is so much here. We're going to have to have Steve come back on, but here is his information. If you'd like to find out more about this, read the book, follow along with the ministry. Right here it is Steve Hemphill, Active-Faith.org. You can follow him on Facebook at Steve Hemphill Today, and on Instagram, Active-Faith.org. You can also catch all of those platforms on the bottom. He has a podcast. It's called Battle Plan with Steve Hemphill. And you can catch him right there on any of those platforms. There's the book right there. What are the stakes? God markers on the land by our guest today, Steve Hemphill. Steve, thank you so much for your time and for coming and being with us today.
Thank you.
We want to have you back to hear some more of these incredible stories.
Love to.
Thank you so much, and have a blessed rest of your day.
Okay, you too. Bye-bye.
All right, that's Steve Hemphill, everybody. And now let's stop for directions. The Apostle Paul said in the book of 2 Corinthians, the 10th chapter, 4th verse, he says, the weapons that we fight with are not the weapons of this world. On the contrary, they have divine power to demolish strongholds. I'm going to ask you this question. I hope it's a revelation for you. Did you know that not every problem that you face is something of natural means? Sure, most of what we come across is a product of this world. It is a product of our flesh not liking what or who we're facing. However, I heard a saying a long time ago, and he said this: we spend too much time dealing with problems instead of the spirit that is behind the problem. Now, in this day and age and in this world that we live in, we should be working on our people skills, our negotiating strategies. We should probably just work on being nice to people forever. That should never change. But there is this area that many people have neglected for far too long, and that is the area of spiritual warfare. Now, this isn't, and it shouldn't be, a scary topic that means we have to get weird. It doesn't mean that we have to get flaky. Spiritual warfare can be summed up as a fight of faith. Trials that come, that war against us, they're trying to get us to believe something else about God and what His Word says. How can you possibly fight a war like that? Well, the Bible says that we are supposed to load up on the Word because that is where our faith is based. That is the basis for the kind of spiritual warfare that Steve is talking about in his book, What Are the Stakes? Faith in the Word that guards your heart and your mind. This kind of spiritual warfare, the kind that causes you to continually feed what you believe, is the only kind of spiritual warfare that'll bring you pure victory. This pure victory has no strings attached, no consequences that you don't want. It is the version of victory that Jesus paid for and desires for every believer to walk in. I pray that you can learn to walk in that today. That's going to wrap it up for our show today. My thanks to Steve Hemphill for coming by and talking about his brand new book, What Are the Stakes? Why don't you go and check that out? Order his book online today. I want to thank Jody for another great show. Join me Wednesday as we have another cast member of our favorite show here at Expanding Your Search, Vindication's own Sergeant Tomlinson. Steve Mokate will be joining us this Wednesday. I hope we help you expand your search today. Have a great day, everyone.
Thanks for joining us today. Connect with us on @ExpandingYourSearch on Facebook and Instagram and @ExpandingSearch on Twitter. Relive any of our episodes on YouTube. We are available wherever podcasts are found, including Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. You can also download the Direction Ministries app on iOS, Android, Apple TV, Roku, and Amazon Fire. Take some time today to expand your search and stop for directions.